Hi guys, and welcome back to Pass and Move. And for today's episode in the Dortmund series, we've got Koln for the game. So, obviously a couple of things have happened since the last episode. We'll go through them quite quickly, but still, not too much has happened. 28 games have gone. Today's the 29th game of the season. Title obviously out of sight, but we should be able to secure a Champions League qualification quite easily. Having said that, it's not over just yet, so we can't get too cocky. But it's just good to see, considering how we, spent about half the season in the lower stages of lower positions of the table, that we managed to bounce back, unlike some other teams such as BMG, who are actually at this rate going to get relegated. I think they already have been, in truth. I'm not sure if the game's covered it already. But yeah, 18 teams mean 34 games, so there's just 5 games left. 15 points plus 11 is just 24, so they pretty much are relegated. And that's pretty much the shock of the season, in truth. But yeah, in terms of ourselves, Koln, of course, are an interesting team to take on. They are just 8 points away in mid-table, so we don't want them to close that gap, but also at the same time we do want to have and try and take advantage of overtaking Leverkusen if possible, who themselves take on Gelsenkirchen. So Gelsenkirchen obviously a pretty tough team to take on. They are in 12th though, so not doing too great. You'd expect Leverkusen to beat them, but I'm hoping on the off chance that they don't, we manage to climb above them and hopefully try and secure the Champions League spots a little bit. So, in terms of what happened since the last episode, we did show you that game against Chelsea in the Champions Cup first knockout round, second leg. After that draw, we've had 3 draws in a row, so it's really terrible. But yeah, against RBL, that continued and possibly even got worse with an away loss, 3-1. Walter Gonzalez is the only one to score for us, but Emil Forsberg and the leading First Division goal scorer, Timo Werner, punished us with a brace as well. He's had an incredible season, a season that I don't think anyone predicted, in truth, but he is the leading goal scorer, and so credit to him, and he's ultimately made the difference for them. But against Gelsenkirchen, we did sort of get a revenge, 4-0, dominating 4-0 win. Götze, Gonzalez, Royce and Yarmolenko all on the score sheet. Good to see both our wingers. We were saying the wingers have been struggling since switching to a 4-3-3 formation, but thankfully today, or not today, but in that game, they managed to grab a goal each, and we ended at 4-0, very dominating. Somewhat sort of revenge in comparison to when we met up with them last time. They sort of sparked our up-turn in form, in truth, so we do have them to thank. But 7-1, I suppose, if you could say it's a 6-0 win. They did defeat us worse, obviously, but it's good to get a win and get some form of revenge. And we need to try and keep dominating them on a regular basis. So out of the April fixtures, I thought Koln might be the one interesting to show you. We do play Freiburg and Stuttgart, but they also, and as well as Augsburg, but they're all sort of mid-table teams, and I thought it would be nice to have a bit of a break between this episode and the next one. So Koln, if we play them here, we won't be showing you until Bremen or possibly Hoffenheim. I think Bremen more likely, even though Hoffenheim's a tougher game. We've showed you Hoffenheim already, so I want to try and avoid it as much as possibly. Hopefully we'll have the Champions League spot already secured by the time we reach here, but if we don't and it comes down to the last game of the season, I will obviously have to show you a Hoffenheim game. But yeah, Koln away from home, not as easy as it looks. Hopefully we get the win, and hopefully Leverkusen lose theirs, or even get a draw for that matter, so that we can overtake them. But yeah, as you can see, away from home, so it's a bit tough, and if we manage to win first, we get to put some nice pressure on them. So I think we can just go ahead and submit the team and talk more about who's starting in just a second, once the players warm up, really. But yeah, in terms of the transfer window, the upcoming transfer window, the board have offered me a new contract, so I definitely am staying with Dortmund, so the series doesn't end there. If you guys didn't realize, my contract would have ended at the end of the season. But actually, wait, let me go back to, how do we do that now? There used to be a, can I go pre-match? No. I guess I could just go to tactics. There used to be a way that you could go back to the pre-match analysis or whatever, so that you could see both lineups. But yeah, in terms of the transfer window, we've got a bunch of decisions to make. In truth, it's in terms of depth, the only real depth that we need is someone to really think our left back, right back spots are sort of sorted. Centre backs we sorted over the January transfer window. Defensive midfield, the whole central midfield in truth is sorted. We've got a lot of first team strength and depth as well. My main issue actually is that Let's quickly just change Gonzalez to complete forward on attack. My main issue is actually making sacrifices to the team and for our balance. So we're playing with a 4-3-3 at the moment, but we do want to move to this sort of formation. We do not have a ball-winning midfield, and we don't have too many defensive midfielders in truth. And even the roaming playmaker, we don't really have any strength there. Shadow strikers, not necessarily in truth. Kagawa and Ogutsu are most natural attacking midfielders, and both of them are advanced playmakers. So it looks like it's going to take quite some time to play this formation, and the truth is, unless I just bin off a bunch of potential players like Dahoud and whatnot and Pulisic, even, we want to be playing wingers, so Royce and Yarmolenko, the likelihood is building up to this formation will take many seasons, and it probably won't happen within this series time, because let's say if we do want to show about 3 seasons worth of this series, there's very little chance that would eventually build up to this sort of team. We'll be selling off players who don't deserve to be sold in truth. But let's see how it is. We'll have a look at the end of the season, who's had very average ratings and that sort of business. Maybe we can try and move on those players, even if they're quality players. If they're playing poorly for us, then what's the point? That kind of thing. But we'll see how it goes. The truth is, we've got a good enough squad to sort of try and challenge next season. We just have to have a better start to the season. And as we saw, we did turn things around. So we just have to try and do that a bit better. In terms of the starters, really, of course, first choice goalkeeper Leo, as we mentioned in the last episode. I think he carries on his good form, so we'll be playing today. Papastopoulos and Mbeba are a centre-back pairing for this match. Papastopoulos has actually been told to improve his form. I made a tiny little promise to him. He came into the side and then he complained about first-team football. So I said, well, I'm including you in the next game anyway, so just show me what you've got. And hopefully that will spark a good turn of form. We also just made a tiny tactical tweak, which is moving this ball-playing defender to the right instead of the left. I feel like a ball-playing defender can find Vidal in better position since he's higher up the field than Leo, and also find Gutsu, of course, the advanced playmaker, and I'd like to have them both on the same side. Vidal, though, first choice right back. I think, we haven't. There's a couple of positions we haven't really nailed down properly, our players. Vigo gets the nod again. Him and Castro have been sort of taking turns. No one really nailing that spot down in some time. Castro had a decent run of form there, but then sort of dropped off, and then Vigo's come on. He hasn't really impressed as a substitute either, in truth. Guerrero, though, finally overtaking Kagawa. Kagawa's form also dropped off, so Guerrero's going to get a chance in the first team, and it's his opportunity to prove that he can be a first team player. Guts, of course, as usual, Yarmolenko, Royce and Gonzalez. So Gonzalez isn't our first choice striker, but hopefully Royce and Yarmolenko provide the depth that's needed, and or the strength rather, not the depth, the strength needed since we're playing a so-called weaker striker. Aubameyang on the bench, his form's dropped off a little bit as well, but he can come off the bench. Hopefully him being dropped down there will inspire him to improve in terms of his performances. But definitely we should be favourites for today's game, and it says it here, so let's go with that team talk, and hopefully players can improve. And, well, continue on the back of that 4-0 defeat of Gelsenkirchen. I mean, when we made the tactical tweak of moving the ball-playing defender, it seemed to help, but of course it might have just been that halftime team talk that I did. You never really know what the direct cause is unless, or the factor that helps in your team's performance, unless you, I suppose, negate all other factors. So Koln are playing a 4-4-2. It seems like everyone's division in truth plays a 4-4-2, a 4-2-3-1 or 2 DMs. And that's possibly why everyone's been torturing us when we play a 4-2-3-1. But 4-4-2 is a very good tactic when you face other oppositions with it. But I think I mentioned this before, that I never seem to be able to get it going, get it working properly. But it's always dangerous when you come up against it, 2 strikers, and I definitely don't trust any of my defenders, to be honest. I think the newer ones have been doing better. Mbeba and our other signing, Wallace, I feel like they're good first teamers, or eventual first teamers, but Papastopoulos and Barter, I think Barter in particular, they just seem to be lacking in terms of defending. All their attributes are perfect, all their ratings, their roles, all that sort of business works for us perfectly, but they just... Hi guys, and welcome back. Sorry about that, bit of a technical issue. So we just wanted to put replays on, and we can get going with this little key chance. I just have to make sure events are showing, put on goals, and hopefully we can actually see a goal here to show a replay for us. Let's see what Royce does here. Alright, so that's the first clear-cut chance of the game, and Royce fails to convert. But the good thing is at least that we're actually creating chances still. But yeah, I'm hoping, as always, when you face up with a 4-4-2, you hope your midfield can overtake theirs. We're playing a 4-3-3, so 3 men against their 2 central midfielders. and Götze with that wild shot there, I suppose. But yeah, just you hope your midfield can make up for their, two-man striker partnership, and hopefully my fullbacks cover my centre-backs well enough. Having Gonzalez as a complete forward on attack, I feel like it's more of a better role than a poacher role. It's more obviously complete, like the title suggests. There's varied movement, better positioning, all that sort of business. And I just like it. I have a bit more of a preference for the complete forward role than any other striker role, in truth. I feel like the false nine is good, but they take too many long shots. Complete forwards are a bit different. They do a bit of everything, which is kind of what you want to look for in terms of a striker. Obviously helps that, no matter what tactic you sort of use, a complete forward very much suits your side. Anyways, we're sort of a bit of a back and forth with Koln here, and we need to try and exploit some spaces here. Vidal trying to do that, but he fails. It's back again to us. Götze, seems like we can't hold on to any sort of decent possession here, but Royce finds Walter really well. That's a bit unlucky from Walter. Let's zoom in a bit here. I feel like we're really far away from everyone. Having some decent chances though. It's just about punishing them before they punish us. We've created only clear cut and half chances of the game, so we need to see better improvement. Yarmolenko though. Guerrero. Ooh, that's not too far away. I thought he was a bit stupid for taking on a long shot there instead of finding Royce, but fair play to him, almost find the net. To be fair to him, I did tell him to try and make an impact, and it looks like that's exactly what he's trying to do. But having a decent performance so far. No one necessarily that poor other than Gonzalez. Some quiet performers, but mostly just solid players overall. It looks like their goalkeeper's having a hell of a game too. Having said that, are they going to punish us from set piece? Almost. Cordoba still has the ball though. The pressure's still on. Can we win it back here? Nope. Instead, it's a really good ball into someone there. Apparently, it's a really own goal. It's a bit harsh on the guy. Bounced off the post onto really into the goal, but it's really poor defending from Mbebe there. I think that's why the game's highlighting him in particular. But I mean, can we slow this down a hint? Let's really take our time here. Yeah, Mbebe tries to clear, bounces off their player, off the post, and off Rulli, and then into the goal finally. And that's as unfortunate as it comes, in truth. Mbebe, they're getting a huge chunk of that poor rating because of that. And that's fair play, to be honest. He's really cleared it very poorly, put his goalkeeper in a very bad position. And really is very unfortunate to be considered that's his own goal. Thankfully his rating stays the same, so that's fair play to him as well. But we're going to have to make some key changes. It looks like Gonzalez is going to be one of them, but the first thing that we need to do is actually tell our players off at half time. We need to be better than that. I think definitely the no desire thing is something to bring up, because they do seem like it. Let's go with you weren't bad. Still have faith in you. They look ready to walk through walls, and that's kind of what you want to leave your players with at half time. So let's see what can happen. I'm going to go into attacking, and I think we should also push Götze a little higher up, playing as an advanced playmaker on attack. You know what, actually, let's keep him on support. Alright then, really gathers that with ease, thankfully, but unless we turn this around in the second half, there's no real excuse. Not even a draw is good enough. If we lose and Leverkusen win, that gap just opens up, and suddenly we're going to find ourselves in third place, scrambling for our lives. Well, for Champions League football, but that's pretty much the same thing, isn't it? Anyways, no real changes. We're coming up to the 60th minute, so let's make some force the goals. Bring on Aubameyang. If you want goals, who else can you bring on better than him? Royce Yarmolenko not having bad games, just quiet ones. Julian Weigl possibly being a bit too quiet for my liking, and he's backup player as well, so he's supposed to prove his worth. Dahoud is supposed to be coming on for Götze, but he's not necessarily tired. Pulisic for Yarmolenko, not really a bad game. Let's bring on Castro for Weigl and see whether he can do something a little bit better as a deep line playmaker. It's not the most attacking change, but I feel like I want to keep Yarmolenko on for as long as possible, not really rely on Pulisic. And Dahoud can maybe come on for Götze a little bit later on when he's tired instead. Having said that though, the clock is really ticking. We haven't created any chances from the first half. That's a bit of our problem. Guerrero's performance has improved, but no one else really. We're going to take off Götze for Dahoud and see what happens. God, this does not look good, especially with the chances we had in the first half. We end up losing this game. That is going to be absolutely ridiculous. And actually, it's Koln who are trying to double their lead. Osako for the team. Can't cut the pass out. Twice there missed by Yarmolenko. Both the players going for the same player for some strange reason. We shut down in droves even though we're not supposed to. And Cordoba can find Clemens quite comfortably. He's probably going to put the ball into the box. Yep. That's as easy as it comes. Crosses are such a big issue in FM. They've always been, in truth. And our central defenders are always losing their man. I feel like that normally happens in FM, but the truth is, I think it happens a bit more when I've been at Dortmund than anywhere else, in truth. We've been very inconsistent in the past, since we went on that nice little winning run. We've still got into the Champions League spots, and then my players seem to relax a little, a bit too much to my liking, of course, but they did seem to just start to relax. And it just doesn't make any sense. And Beba's dropped to a 5.6 rating now. I mean, he's had a howler. He's missed both the players. Both his errors have resulted in goals. And that's as deserved as ever. And I was just talking about how my new signings are doing alright. Oh, well. Castro. Decent ball into Yarmolenko. Finds Guerrero quite easily. And he takes the shot from the 6-yard box, and he's somehow managed to blast it, fly it over the bar. I mean, I didn't expect it to go in, but at least I expected it to hit the target. It's not over yet though, so we can still turn it around. I know there's 10 minutes, but it's happened before. But at the rate that we're playing and the mistakes we're making, we are going to be out of here. I was thinking about making a change. I feel like the game doesn't reward a sort of direct style of playing, and so I was considering changing Aubameyang to defensive forward on support, and basically changing things around. But it's the last 10 minutes anyways. I can make that tactical tweak later if I want. For now, let's just go into overload and try and make some changes here. Clear the ball into flanks. Should we pump the ball stupidly forward? I think we should. Aubameyang's a poacher as well. He'll be on the shoulder of his man. And just make those changes and see what happens. The truth is, Koln are probably going to punish us before we punish them. But let's see. Vidal with a ridiculous ball, but it's come to Royce, and he still instead plays it safely to Guerrero, and he finally gets his goal. A well-deserved goal, in truth. He's had an incredible performance according to the ratings, and I feel like he has done really well in that central midfield attacking role, a role not too many players can do well, and he might have just finally found his position and role. That's one hell of a shot. He's had his fair few shots, and he's finally converted one here, but we will need him to convert at least another one, if not two, but there's no real time for two, and possibly no real time even for one. And Mbeba's chances, or errors rather, are gonna cost us here by the looks of it. But one more chance here. Aubameyang in the box. What can he do? Oh, he scored that! That was as unexpected as ever. I'm really gonna slow down this highlight. I'm gonna keep on overload, so just in case we can grab a third. Thankfully we've come round, but I want to slow this down as much as possible. We're going to get beautiful angle here from the director's shot. And look at that, the tightest of angles. Two players are shutting him down. The goalkeeper's at his near post. And the truth is that Aubameyang has no right to be scoring that. And thankfully, we've come out to rescue a draw. But if you ask me, it's still an unacceptable draw. Of course, we're favourites of the game, expected to win. We are away from home, but it is Koln. So no real excuses for today, and the substitutions and the halftime team talk just shows that the result is more about the players' mentality than it was the actual tactics or anything of the sort. Obviously, it came down to two errors as well. We would have won the game if it wasn't for Mbebe, wasn't it? But these errors happen in Mbebe. Obviously, we're gonna find them. That's without a doubt. But let's see. Told them off at half time, so I don't know whether I want to tell them good job for coming back, or do I want to tell them that it wasn't good enough. I think I'll just stay on calm, find the middle ground, and just say that wasn't good enough. That way I'm not really telling them off, but also kind of telling them off. Morale is, I think, good enough to handle me telling them off in a calm manner. But yeah, Mbebe really did cost us that game. That's just a shocking performance. I really feel bad for him because he's been playing really well in all his matches, and I was looking forward to him coming back into the side as a ball-playing defender. And then he does that, and he does it live as well. So let's have a quick. I want to have a quick look at the squads how can I do that? The squad personality. It's at the club thing, isn't it? Where was it? General, I think. Squad personality is just professional. I mean, that's decent, obviously, but you kind of want to look for ambitious or, resolute or something. A little bit better than professional. Professional is decent, of course. It's better than, complacent or something. But let's have a quick look at the team report and see where our weaknesses are. So we have apparently defensive depth, even though that's been addressed. Heading, jumping reach. We do have small players up front, and to be fair, strength. Yeah, we don't have necessarily strong sides. Passing. Completion rate, that doesn't really bother me in truth. 74% is actually quite decent for a side to play direct football. Leadership is definitely an issue. Goals against, allowing 19 of the 53 assists conceded have come from inside the penalty area. So apparently we don't close our players down enough, our opposition players, which is a bit shocking because I have tighter marking already on. And this is why I was talking about having to actually play a ball-winning midfield in midfield, because you need that. Whether it's in defensive midfield or central midfield, you need someone who's really just closing people down, and I feel like those players will be doing that. But obviously it's also coming down to my defenders. It's just unexplainable, really. But either way, let's quickly, first of all, give Guerrero a pat on the back for his performance. And let's quickly skip ahead and see if we can see whether Leverkusen won their game or not. A draw wouldn't let us go above them, I think. I think they're better than us in terms of goal difference. So even if they lose, they would still be alright. If they get a draw, they're just, the point stays the same, that they're just 1 point away from us. Oh, there you go. They got a draw, so I think we can stop that. We're still in third. Everyone else has played the game. If we lose, obviously, if we lose any of our next few matches, we risk dropping out the Champions League spots and ending up in Europa League. So now it's really peak time, I suppose. Having said that, there's about, what's that, 5 more games, is it? So it's really coming into a crucial part every game, even if it's against tougher teams or against so-called weaker teams. You would expect it, since it's crunch time, to for opposition teams to really elevate their levels. So Freiburg will definitely be fighting for their lives, even though it looks like an easy game. Stuttgart, Augsburg. Either way, I think we'll be back for Bremen. Hoffenheim are very close to us at the moment, but I expect us to have it wrapped up by the time we reach to Bremen, and hopefully that'll be okay. We'll show you sort of the last game of the season, even though it's not technically this season. I just mean for this sort of episode series, and then next season we can start off with the new season and hopefully a bunch of new signings. And let's see how things go, whether we can move things towards our newer tactic, and whether, if we're forced to stay with the same tactic, if we can still compete and have a better start than we did have this season, or a better middle, I suppose, because we had a decent start, but it was afterwards where we started to drop off, I suppose. But anyways, I think that's all for today's episode. So if you did enjoy it, and of course, please do hit the like button and subscribe for more Daily Football Manager 2018 content. And as always, guys, thank you all for watching.